Hi, I'm David Rainger from Rainger FX guitar pedals in West London, UK, and I'm here for Premier Guitars, Why I Built This. The biggest inspiration behind our pedals, I'd have to say in all honesty, is what would I use? I think it's really important that we make equipment that is something we feel passionately about and is not something that we just think is the right thing to do, or filling in a gap, or what other people might like, what might sell. I think it's really important that it's that we stand behind it and we use it and we believe in it and we've adjusted it and built it so that it sounds the best to our ears. I think that's really important. And after that initial sort of requirement, each pedal has its own individual starting point, really. For instance, our Reverb pedal, the Reverb X, that was just after messing about with a pedal order, with delay pedals and reverb pedals and overdrive pedals, and putting them in the wrong order, and you got the overdrive after the reverb seemed to bring out interesting kind of artifacts and strangeness that you wouldn't normally hear in the reverb, and it made it really exciting and it really exaggerated things. And I thought, this is a great idea for a pedal. You've got to have this in one pedal. I was getting into making our mini pedals at the time, and so we put a fairly straightforward overdrive circuit in it, only on the reverb. I thought, you've got to have the guitar clean. It's up to the player themselves what the guitar tone is, whether it's distortion or not. So this is just distortion on the reverb. So that was good. But also, one thing about this is you get just loads of noise when you're not playing. So it's a really good idea to have a noise gate in the circuit somewhere or other. And so we put a noise gate in, and it led to this. Not only did it cut off the noise when you weren't playing, but it gave an amazing effect in that it sounded like you were playing with reverb and someone had recorded you and sampled you, had recorded that section and chopped off, top and tail, the ends of it. So the reverb was cut off. So anything you played had this kind of iconic quality, like built in. And if you played it twice, everyone was certain it's a sample of some classic record. And so I would be sounding classic. This was just, and when I first realised this on the breadboard, I plugged it in, and for about 3 months, I'd look at the clock and it'd be 6 in the evening and everyone would have gone home, and I would be there for another hour and 20 minutes just going, oh my god, and I put tracks on to play along to, and I wasn't doing any adjusting or work or nothing. I was just having fun with this thing and marveling over this amazing kind of result of putting all these things together. So we actually have the noise gate. It has a switch on it, but it doesn't actually switch it off. It just switches it from after the reverb to before the reverb, which just kind of cuts out a sort of, I don't know, cable hum or whatever when you're not playing, and you don't hear. That has no effect on the reverb because the reverb's just carrying on. It just sort of bit of housekeeping within the pedal. So I think most pedals come as a result of this kind of chance, or just being inspired by your original idea and taking it to the next stage, or an accidental thing. And of course, plenty of times you do it and it sounds rubbish and you go home at 6. But the most unique characteristic of our pedals, our whole reason for being is, we're trying to inspire musicians to write another hit single, and or a great riff, or just keep playing, whatever. That's what we're all about. A key thing about this is coming up with new sounds that are really usable, that catch your ear and just make you want to keep playing. If I've stopped playing through the new idea after 20 minutes, then that's a fail, But if it's 40 minutes and you're still going, then it's got legs. And we also, I like to think that we don't take things for granted of how things have to be with a pedal, trying to think of things in a new way, or does it have to be the old way, or is there a really simple way of carrying out some task or other, like with the expression pedals. And I mean, everyone likes a bit of real-time expression on their sounds of some parameter or other, but expression pedals are big and they're expensive, and there's nothing in them really. It's just a massive, great foot thing that you have to carry around, and I mean, heaven help you if you need 2 or 3 of them. And I just thought we've got to come up with something better. So we came up with our Igor pressure pad that you can use with your foot or by hand. And it's not as precise as a rocker pedal, but it's just a way of getting some real-time control, some sort of expression into your playing. And there's no moving parts. It's light and tiny, and it works really well for that kind of task. Really, it's not an on-off switch. It is an adjustable expression pedal, and with our delay pedals that have it, if you turn up the delay to lots of feedback, so it's howling away, and you plug in the Igor with your hand, you can kind of play a tune with it. You can move the pitch up and down. It is actually an expression pedal. And that's just one thing that we did quite a while ago to try and tackle this issue. If I could get one of pedals into particular players' hands, isn't it? That's an interesting idea. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, God, well, I'll get one to Jimi Hendrix, but you know what? He kind of did okay muddling through without us, and all these big names. I mean, they're big names and they sound great, and I'm quite happy just sitting and listening, Les Paul is one that comes to mind. That he was a storming player. It wasn't really my sort of music, but man, he was incredible at it, and he came up with all these inventions that just moved technology into a new era. And I liked how he kind of he wasn't there from scratch with a breadboard and with a piece of paper and drawing diagrams. He took bits and pieces of existing technology and put them together and went, what about this? Can you do something good with this? That sounds odd. What if and he was just doing that forever. So it'd be interesting to see what he would make of, I don't know, the Reverb Pedal. And then I thought, our drone Rainger pedal, this was a really odd idea of something. It's really not me to start with. But before we started doing this, I thought, this isn't me, really. Someone suggested it, and I thought, the fact that it's not you is interesting. And something about it caught my imagination. And I thought, this is odd, and it's strange. And it has all these different uses, really. It's like ambient. It's really sinister and dark sounding. So in like hard rock bands, some sort of heavy stoner type situation, it is just unbelievable. If you're doing cinematic stuff on your own in your bedroom, it's so much fun. That's your whole evening sorted, basically. Also, if you're in a 2-piece band, frankly, I don't know how you've managed this long without it. Like Royal Blood is a band. They should have it. With the arrangement of the switches, I thought it's really important. It wasn't locked into one tone, one note. I wanted it so you could change notes on it, but do it with your feet as well, and decide what notes it's going to be. So it has a switching arrangement that's a little bit odd, but once you understand where it's coming from, you can play a 4-note bass line with it. You might fall over while you're doing it, but you can do it with your feet. And I just thought that was good. Or if you just do a 2-note, have 2 notes set, that means you can go to the bridge of a song and you can have a different note. And it just widens the usage out of just the one note long kind of tambura-like ongoing scenario. You know, you can play it you can fit it underneath, you know, a lot of songs basically. So that was actually, I think it changed how I play, and I think a lot of these do. Our deep space pulsar, the sidechainer thing, you know, that dips the volume in time with the music. I thought, well, that would be good, and it crops up on all sorts of records. There's all the club thing, but it also it's there on a lot of rock records. When you're having a rock track mastered, the mastering engineer might well put a little bit triggered by the bass drum on your guitar, or where the guitar is, and it'll just make the whole thing springy and rubbery. And so I worked around this, and I did about 4 or 5 versions of this till we finally ended up with the Deep Space Pulsar. 4 or 5 versions that were all released and sold and tweaked and changed for the next one and stuff. And we finally honed it down to this latest thing. And of course I would test it out with the correctable tap tempo that could stay in time for minutes at a time, because that's what you needed for this. Because you wanted to play. I wanted it to either play along live with the drummer, or I wanted to play along with a DJ who'll play it all night. And I wanted this thing to just pretty much kind of lock in with it. So I would put on DJ mixes to listen to, and I'd start this thing off, and you know, after 20 seconds you hit it once again to correct it, and that would be it, and it would be in time. And I'd be playing along, I'd be sounding like I was the coolest guitar player on earth, just kind of the guitars like pumping away and stuff. And I would play for a long time, every day like this through it. And I just started listening to lots of DJ mixes, and I swear it changed my musical taste really kind of fundamentally. I've always been into kind of electronic music, sort of more than heavier rock stuff. But I started listening to all kinds of stuff and more techno-y things. If I had to build something else other than pedals, what would it be? Well, my immediate answer is more pedals, but I can't. But other than pedals, I think I would make clothes or handbags, or I would try and be a painter. And that's all I came up with. I mean, basically, I'm a guitar player, so I play in a band. And I started playing guitar a really long time ago. I'm kind of old. And the job I wanted to do before being a guitar player was a goalkeeper. So how about that? I would be a goalkeeper. I am taking this seriously, you know. What other piece of gear is the perfect complement to our pedals? Well, you know, I mean, my favourite amp is my old twin Reverb, which is basically clean forever. A nice valve amp, just sounding totally great. But I've got nothing against a good solid state amp either. I think hit records have been made on all kinds of gear, you know. All the cheapest stuff it's been made on, you know. If what you're playing sounds good, and if the track sounds good and the band sounds good, then, you know, no one's going to say, yeah, but you've got to change all your gear and re-record everything because it's not on valve or something. So it could work either way. I'm a big fan of DIing pedals. I think is a great thing. It was a Jesus and Mary chain who said a really good test for a studio engineer of a studio they might have just gone into that day to record. Plug a fuzzbox into the mixing desk and see what the sound engineer did. I like plugging mixing desks into fuzz pedals, and the other way around. I think it gives it a real presence, a real immediacy. It sounds like if you're mic'd up through a guitar amp in a room, it's like the listener can see you there. You're right in front of them. Maybe you're in stereo, and they can hear a bit of room stuff. Whereas if you DI with a fuzzbox, you're here. You're right in the listener's ear, right there, and it's so present and so immediate, and it's got that kind of some attitude to it. you know. And so, you know, blend it in with another instrument with it in the room, and you're mixing in 3D, you know. Having said that, the GFI Cabzeus, if that's how you say it, Cabzeus, I've got a mono version of that, a cab simulator by GFI. That's pretty great, you know. That's just stick that in, and that helps things along as well. Yes, that's what I think.